Welcome to Wacky's Market Chat. I'm just gonna try to do something new here. Let's try to understand the current Pokemon market and what can potentially happen in the next 6 months. And this is based on observation and that college degree that I went to. Let's try to put some of it into use. Let's do this. So right now, everyone is seeing that the market is all-time high for modern Pokemon cards, which is kept actually really, really insane. Cosmic Eclipse prices, Vivid Voltage prices, Darkness Ablaze prices. I think only Rebel Clash and maybe Crimson Invasion are kind of low, but generally, right now we're seeing booster boxes selling for 100%. Like higher than normal or 200% higher than normal. We're looking at boxes that used to be $100 or $200 now, $300, and it's absolutely crazy, double, triple the prices. And one of the reasons why that this is happening is because of different ways of selling nowadays. Sometimes a box is worth $20, but those 4 packs I can sell them for $7, $8 a piece. So I'm breaking down the box, deconstructing the box, and I'm just selling the individual parts, and then I'm selling them on auction apps, right? Like Whatnot. And I'm taking $40, $70 for a Champions Path pack that has no business of being $70 or $60 or whatever, or a Hidden Fates pack that is shooting up, or Shining Legends is one of the really like big ticket items nowadays that's almost $30. I saw the other day 28 $29, and it was on sale for 24. So there's some really crazy um activities are happening in the market right now in terms of pack prices and how they're selling different types of boxes, and also like ETBs and all that good stuff. So why is because the third party market is king. People are selling on eBay, people are selling on Instagram, Facebook marketplace. So they're buying it from whichever places that they're buying it from, either directly from distributors or vendors, and then they're reselling it to wherever you can find somebody that you can resell to. So generally, the way that it works, or booster boxes are being sold, we'll use this example, and then elite trainer boxes afterwards, is that Pokemon has these set distributors, and they sell them at a cost, right? They're selling them, say, for example, $70. It could be way cheaper than that, but let's say $70 to the distributor. So that distributor then sells it for $81. They're making approximately $11 for this example, but maybe they're buying it for 80, or they're buying it for 79. They're making $2 profit per box. Whatever the cost is, they're getting it X plus profit. And they're selling it to old vendors and new vendors. We can explain that in a minute. And then that goes to the customer. So every place along the pipeline, someone is taking profit. Pokemon is taking their profit by selling. Distributors are selling their items and they're making a profit. The vendors are buying, selling, and they have taxes and all that stuff to do as well. And then finally it goes to the consumer after you paid your taxes, and you're down to the net $93. Blah blah blah. So this is generally the pipeline that it will traditionally take. Same way for elite trainer boxes. Pokemon sells it to a distributor for like $20. Distributor sells it for $25, $35, depending. The vendor gets it, sells it to you, the customer, for $40, and they make their profit. And this is how it usually happened, or it used to happen in the Pokemon market. Now, currently, the way that competition is working in our current market is that an old vendor, new vendor, they have a relationship. So the old vendors are like, your gaming stores, your card shops, local game stores, local card shops, and then we have a new vendor that's coming in. These are the people who are, they originally sold on an Instagram marketplace, or they sold on eBay, and you know what? I just want to buy directly from the vendor and the distributor rather, and I start my own LLC and I get my tax EIN. So there's the new vendors. They're coming in. So they want to get business, right? They're not big as GameStop or Walmart, and they're not big as your local card shop, but they just started a company, and they said, you know what? I'm going to try to sell my items at a lower cost. So originally, a booster box used to cost $144 on average when it was first released. Then it goes down to $133 because the new vendors are trying to cut their cost. The old vendors are trying to meet the cost of the new vendors, so they drop their price down to 133, and the new vendors that come in after that price drop, they're selling at 122. So every time somebody new comes in, the price goes down, the profit the profit margin shrinks, and this is how we get this new type of competition that keeps prices low for everybody, and we're all enjoying this and we're all benefiting from it. So it goes to 109, goes to 93, which like Darkness Ablaze was selling for $93 a booster box during the pre-order phase, and Vivid Voltage was going for $93 as well. And now the old vendors met the $93 cost. So now what we see with Battle Styles, people are selling for $81 at cost for some distributors, and of course everyone's going to make the profit, so maybe they're buying it for $75 or $70 a booster box. They're still making some profit. So this is the lowest rates that we've ever seen before, but that's causing a problem, right? So scalpers have entered the market. So what they're doing is they're buying the cheap prices that everyone is offering at $81 and $93, and they're taking it back. So here we see Pokemon sells it for X dollar cost, who gives it to the distributor, who the distributor now takes X, their cost, plus their profit, and they sell it to the vendor. The vendor then takes their portion of the profit, which is Z, and they give it to either the scalper or the customer. But because the scalpers are in now, the scalper is buying it, and then they're adding their profit on top of that. And there are two types of scalpers, right? There's the same way that the new vendors come in, that the scalper becomes a vendor himself, and they buy directly from the distributor in large quantities. They're talking about tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of product, and now they are holding on to it for a little bit of time and they're selling it back. So they completely cut out your game shops and all those other people that are involved, the middlemen, and they go directly to the distributor and take the product at the lowest cost, and then they scalp it to you at the highest amount. And the customer at the end of it, sometimes they don't have the opportunity to get it from a local gaming store. They get it directly from the scalper, from both ways, right? Through eBay, through Instagram, through their own personal website. So, for example, let's look at Champion's Path. I think this is actually the best example in the modern era, is that Pokemon sold it to the distributor roughly, let's say, for example, $20. The distributor then sold it to the vendor for $35. That vendor sold it at the maximum, the manufacturer's suggested retail price, MSRP, which is $50. That scalper took all of them at $50, imagine, right? So they have a chokehold on that specific product. Another scalper decided to become a vendor himself, and they bought it from the distributor for $35. So $15 profit difference between one scalper's and to another, and they're both selling it for $95, or some of the like outrageous prices that we saw were $125 when it first came out, or $110 or $109, whatever the case may be. But the customer at the end of the day gets screwed. They're paying double, triple the price just for a product, which the suggested retail price was supposed to be $50. And so what it ends up looking like is this, that the distributor, so it starts creating a market, right? The distributor realizes that these scalpers are taking insane profits on this one product that used to sell for just $50, $60. So now the distributor is getting smart. The vendor is like, yeah, we're also falling into the same type of problem, where we sell it for 50, but the scalper is making another $40, $50 upon it. So they're starting to think and get smart too about the situation. And then of course the scalpers are buying, doubling, tripling the prices, and then selling to the customer, or selling again to another third party market where there are more customers. So what happens is this, that Pokemon sells it to the distributor. The distributor, having a contractual obligation, decides to maintain that contractual obligation, still sell to some vendors, right? Some vendors are just disguised scalpers, and they're continuing to go down that flow, right? So the distributor says, I have to maintain my relationship with Pokemon, so I have to sell to these vendors. But at the same time, that distributor now is keeping some product for themselves. And I know this for a fact after talking to some distributors myself, when I asked them about Hidden Fates. And he said, oh yeah, my boss is holding some Hidden Fates for the third party market, because they know that Hidden Fates is really solid for that. And we could talk about like different prices for Hidden Fates coming up. So the distributor, he holds some product for himself now, and then he's selling some to the vendor. And on the third party market, we see that they're selling for $95 or $100 for the case of the ETB, Champions Path ETB. So they sell to the vendor. Now the vendor either is a scalper or a vendor. They're like, oh, I have to still maintain some relationships with people, so I'm gonna sell it for the suggested retail price, and I'm gonna sell it for 50. But I'm gonna keep some for myself, and I'm gonna sell it for 95 on the third party market. I'm gonna sell it on eBay. I'm gonna sell it on Instagram. I'm gonna sell it to my friends who, they can't find it anywhere else, so I'm gonna sell them at a higher rate. So that happens as well. The scalpers, they buy them at the retail rate, or they buy it direct from distributor, and then they're selling it again $95, blah blah blah. The customer at the end, which are like regular people like you and me, we finally get our product. But now we're deciding, should I actually open it or not, or should I just flip it, and then when the product comes back a little bit lower, I can just buy that to replace it. So whoever buys it for 95, they're like, you know what? Let me try to increase that price to 115 just so I can get maximum benefit out of this. So it creates an entire cycle where no one wants to sell it at the price that they have to sell it, and no one wants to sell it at the price that used to undercut their competition, right? Everyone is trying to get maximum profits and maximum returns, and this is causing such a like horrible imbalance in our current Pokemon market. And the only person that can, or the only entity that can't enter this third party market is Pokemon. Pokemon cannot enter at all. That's why there's an X in this diagram, that they just sell it to the distributor, and that's about it. They can't really sell directly to you other than things like Pokemon Center, which again is suggested retail price. So what we saw earlier was that the boxes that used to sell for 144 dropped all the way to $93 to $81, but because of such short supply, everyone's buying it up at 81 and holding it for a little bit of time, that there's a artificial demand for it, that when they go to their traditional places to buy for $93 or $81, they can't find it anymore. After holding it for a little bit of time, they start releasing it at higher rates. So we see this exactly with Vivid Voltage right now. Vivid Voltage was going for pre-orders around $93. Then we saw that another wave of Vivid Voltage came about, and they started selling it for $109. Up to just last week, it was around that price, 109, 110, maybe 115. This week, Vivid Voltage is now up to 200 something dollars. So, or let's use the example of Darkness Ablaze. Darkness Ablaze during pre-order you could get for $93, and during the second and third waves, you saw that Darkness Ablaze went up to about 110, maybe about $120. Now it's full maximum price of 144. You don't usually see those prices until a couple of print runs, right? You see those prices for a little bit older sets. So just something that came out of that range was like Ancient Origins. Ancient Origins was roughly around $144 about like say about 6-7 months ago, and it shot up to like 200, and now it's in the 250 range. But you never see that the maximum price go like in its early infancy, or the early run in the market, reach $144 until it's going out of like print run or print cycle. Where for example, Cosmic Eclipse right now is going for like $300. In a couple months ago, you could probably find it around 150, maybe $200. So we see that this is the return to the suggested retail price, when before the competition, because it was a healthy competition, made it lower than the suggested retail price. Now it's going back to MSRP, and it's going above and beyond to all those scalping prices, because why? Everyone can just make profits. So Pokemon is definitely watching this. Pokemon is learning all these different types of things that are going on. 25th anniversary is coming up. They don't want to mess that up. That's going to be a very huge, like gigantic year for them. They have celebrities like Katy Perry involved. Leonhardt has all these extra products he's probably being sent right now so he can open up early. We have Unlisted Leaf and all these other people, all these different types of creators. There's talks about different games coming out with Pokemon Snap, and then the remakes of Gen 4 and all this crazy stuff. So Pokemon is being very careful. They're watching what's going on. They're testing the waters. They tested it first with Champion's Path by announcing that there was a Charizard in that set. The first run of Champion's Path, everybody knows how much of a mess that was. So much so that Pokemon said, you know what? We all know you guys want Champion's Path, so we're going to be making more Champion's Path so you guys can get second and third run Champion's Path. there's at least a chance they can still get those from certain stores, and that kind of like leveled out the it leveled up the cost of the Champions Path packs. They're generally floating around $6 or $7, right? They're not really going more than that unless you're going to like whatnot for auctions and stuff like that. And they're testing with Vivid Voltage as well, right? They said there's gonna be 2 or 3 different printings of Vivid Voltage, and they're trying to figure out exactly how much supply and how much demand there is. Pokemon usually doesn't care about third-party prices unless there's two things. Number one is modern packs, meaning something that they're still printing and they're selling. Like, for example, they don't necessarily care, or they're not so involved in a base set box selling for X number of dollars, right? Or a Neo Genesis box selling for X number of dollars, or a Heart Gold Soul Silver box selling for X number of dollars, because why? They're not printing that anymore. No matter what they do, they're kind of stuck at whatever price they're selling it to distributors. So they're not making a profit on that Pokemon box from 20 years ago that's selling for $300,000-$400,000. So they care about modern packs that they're still printing, and two is how much bad press they're getting from it, right? Good publicity, bad publicity. They don't really care about how much publicity they're getting as long as there's demand coming from it. But when it gets really bad, it starts leading to big problems for them in terms of their image. So one very big and recent example is the skateboards with Bear Walker, where the skateboards had Pokemon on them like Umbreon and Pikachu and Mewtwo and all that. The first run of skateboards, they sold out in minutes, right? Bots ate up all of them, right? And I'm talking about the first run that came out last year in 2020, not the second run in 2021. So the first wave was bought out in minutes. Second wave, which just came out last week or so, with the Pikachu skateboard, we saw that the site was crashing. We saw that people were being kicked out. So Pokemon learned from the first time, and they said, you know what? The first time we did it in one wave, all of them were gone. So a lot of people tried to buy it the second time for the second wave, and it turns out that a lot of bots were buying the board still, and a lot of it sold out in minutes, and regular consumers, regular customers, people who were big fans of Pokemon were not able to get it. They did so many complaints, and within the same day, Pokemon said, you know what, guys, we actually planned for this, and we have a second round coming up. Try again to do this. Second wave comes up, bots are still there, but they had a new like security system where you had to like move a little jigsaw puzzle and show that you're not a robot, blah blah blah. So there were some security measures and upping, but Pokemon is testing with Bear Walker. Pokemon is testing with Champions Path to see how much product they actually need to produce and what measures are going to be needed for the upcoming year. So they're testing with this. And we see that, giant retailers, they're also getting instruction, or they know that certain amount of product is being eaten up. So they're limiting guests to taking 1 or 2 ETBs or specific Pokemon product so it doesn't get scalped. So this is because of a relationship between Pokemon and the retail giants like Walmart, Walgreens, Target, GameStop, etc., etc. Another thing is that Pokemon, what I mentioned, Pokemon can't make more money on the cards that are already printed, other than whatever they sell to a distributor. So they sell it for $20 or $15 or $10 or whatever. If that item is so popular that it has to be sold, that's sold on the secondhand market for more money, they're not really making money off of it. So Hidden Fates is a very good example. They probably sold for X dollars to the distributor. Distributor sold it for $35 to the vendor. Vendor selling it for $125, $150, even though suggested retail price is $50 or $60. But so Pokemon doesn't really get a profit about it. So what can Pokemon do to control this current issue about like scalping prices or rising prices in the market? They can control the supply and the hit rates. So for example, Burning Shadows is most notorious for the horrible hit rates with the Rainbow Charizard, for example. You can order like Max Mofo 500 packs, spoiler alert, finally got a Rainbow Charizard after 500 something packs in one video, versus him opening one pack for every video that he did, and before that opening a whole bunch, he never was able to pull it. So they can control hit rates. They can control the supply, how much they want to actually put into the market and how many waves they want to put it. So just to combat certain types of things, market restrictions wise, Pokemon is instructing the retailers, just keep 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 like a limit on scalpers and see how they're actually coming and buying and selling and what type of tactics they're using. And they're, these are the people who line up 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and they're waiting for the truck to unload stuff. And you see things like the hidden fates tins, for example. The retailers are getting them and they're selling them for $20, right? They're getting them for cheaper, they're selling them for $20, and they don't really care about the profit margin on that because they're making billions of dollars selling other products, so they don't really mind. So that's why people can still buy hidden fates for $20 when they go to Walmart, but usually you don't find them. And Pokemon is making that relationship with these giant distributors to limit how scalpers are doing things, and they're implementing new techniques when so on and so forth, so they can actually make sure their products are still hitting the shelves. So Pokemon, this is going to my final point, that Pokemon is going to flood the market. Pokemon is going to produce so much for the 25th anniversary to rectify this thing. Um, just because of my understanding of how they're going to do it to bring back peace into the whole money cycle that's going on, right? To get things back to suggested retail pricing, and if not, to make it cheaper. The only way that you can beat the scalper is by producing so much that the scalper cannot compete with it, right? To completely flood the market with all these different products where you have mixed products and you find all these different types of cards. So, for example, like XY evolutions, a lot of people did not want extra XY evolutions in their boxes just about a year ago, right? When I started opening cards and started my channel, a lot of people were actually complaining about XY evolutions in their boxes. Or there's so much product like Steam Siege. It was a very unpopular set and they printed the crap out of it. And that's people were like, oh, Steam Siege, right? When it started getting rarer, XY evolution started getting rarer, and they said we're gonna stop printing it. That's when people started like really getting into it. So I think for the 25th anniversary for 2021, Pokemon's just gonna flood the market with this new set, with these new products. You still see, like, for example, Champions Path. There's so much Champions Path in the market now. Again, steady $6-7. You can go to some stores, you can still find some Champions Path boxes. The ETB price went down from $95 or $115 to $75 or $60 on the secondhand market. So there's so much going on, and you know Pokemon doesn't want too much negative press, and they want to look like they're proactive, and that's why they're taking steps with the skateboard. They're taking steps with printing extra waves of Darkness Ablaze and Vivid Voltage and all these different types of steps. And Pokemon is the only one that can control the supply. They can't sell to distributors at higher prices because they're probably locked into contracts, but they can print as much Pokemon cards as they want, and they can flood the market as much as they want because they're Pokemon, it's their product. So they already tested out with Champions Path, and they're gonna test it out with Cosmic Eclipse that's coming up. That's already guaranteed for a reprint, and they're gonna test it out with Shining Fates. Shining Fates, I think they intentionally put the Charizard in there, just so people they can like pressure test it to see how much demand there's gonna be, and if there's a Charizard in a set, it's gonna be like the highest level of demand. And they're gonna try to take it just like they did Champions Path. So they tested it out with Champions Path first, and then now they're going to test out with Shining Fates and Cosmic Eclipse, which is the reprint. And already for Shining Fates, from the distributor side, we know there's going to be 4 waves, and they don't usually announce how many waves they're going to do all of these printings, but they're giving us a heads up already. Battle Styles, which is coming out in March, is going to be a light test. They're going to see how many people are interested. This is going to be like the opposite of the pressure test to see how much demand there is in a set without a Charizard. And then I'm pretty sure as we get closer to September and October, where they're going to release the Johto Jumbo cards and then the Kanto Jumbo cards with the Charmander and the Chikorita and the Cyndaquil and Squirtle and for Alligator, as well as Totodile and all those other guys. So as we get closer to fall 2021, which is going to be the final drop, is going to be the legendary 25th anniversary collection series, they already took all the measures that they wanted with Shining Fates, with Cosmic Eclipse, with Champions Path, with Vivid Voltage, with Battle Styles, and whatever else is going to happen in the summer. They already took the steps to know how much supply that they're going to make. They're going to flood the market most likely, so much so that no one can scalp the prices because everyone is talking about scalping prices and making a super crazy profit. So I feel like they're gonna just overwhelm the entire market, that they can't price gouge, they can't scalp, they can't cheat people out of their packs, and everyone's gonna have a chance to get that Pokemon stuff. Uh, so that's my theory. That's my market analysis. I can be completely wrong, and I don't know what I'm talking about, and that's perfectly fine. But thank you for listening this far. If you made it this far, if nobody loves you, I love you. And thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Like, share, and subscribe for more videos and content. If you like this market analysis, let me know. And hopefully, I'll make you another one. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.